Hi, so for this section of the tutorial, I'll be going through the 4 different class test modes. So let's jump right into it. So here's the dashboard, and I'm going to enter into the class we created from the workflow overview. If you haven't watched that, just to have a general idea, you can go ahead and click that and watch that video. Now I've assigned different class tests with the different modes in here, except for this one where I called it homework, but it's actually a class test mode, and I will show you in a moment about why did I did that and how the homework mode works. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the classic class test, and I'm gonna hit start. And here is the lobby of which the teacher can have access to everything she needs to run a live class test. Now I'm just going to go through the function here, and for this section it is actually the dictation portion of the class test. The timing here is the number of seconds between the first word and the next word. So for instance, how we have built the software is that it'll say the word, and if there's a context sentence, it'll say the sentence, and then it'll repeat the word. And then there'll be that number of seconds of space in between before the next word. So let me just show you how it works. I'm gonna hit start test.
The test will begin now. The first word is deliberateness. His deliberateness in choosing words showed true wisdom. Deliberateness.
So you can see that it said the word, said the sentence, then said the word, and now the countdown is going on. And notice that auto advanced timer is not clicked because it's unchecked. Now, if I were to check it and go on to the next word, I'm just going to change this to 5 seconds so it's a little faster. Set that. I'm going to go next word.
The second word is miscommunication. A simple miscommunication caused the entire project to stall. Miscommunication.
Okay, once the timer hits 0, because now the auto advance is checked.
The third word is sensationalization.
So I'm going to stop the audio so you can see that it goes on to the next test straight away. You can repeat the word whenever you want, or stop the audio whenever you want, or pause the time in between words anytime you would like as well. So this is essentially a way for you to automate your whole testing during the live class day, but also give you complete control over everything you need to run the test. Now you see here that when we change the time, say I put it now to 10, it actually updates the amount of time remaining in the class test, which is actually a very nice feature for you to have if you wanted to automate your whole test flow and kind of get a rough gauge of how long your test is going to take. So this calculates the reading time as well as the break in between the words, so it estimates for you how much more time you have left in your test. Over here is the test time limit section, where it's a hard limit to stop whenever the test is. For instance, if I put 10 minutes in here and start the timer, the test will have a hard stop at the end of 10 minutes. Now, this may not be very practical in the live class test, but when I show you the self-paced test, you'll understand why this is a feature you might want to use. I'm just going to stop the timer here. And I would highlight that show results to student is checked, meaning that it automatically shows the results to the students once the test is over. If you don't want that to happen, you can just uncheck that. Okay. So there's also this choice between the US voice and the UK voice, of which you can choose. The UK was previously selected, so that's why there was a lady with a UK accent. All right. And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit end test. For the rest of these features, I will be explaining it in a separate video. Okay, now I want to show you the self-paced test. I'm gonna hit, notice here that the mode is self-paced already. I'm gonna hit start. Okay. Now on the self-paced test mode, you actually have less features compared to the class test mode. You can select the type of voice that your students are listening to. And then here we have the hard test limit. Now this becomes practical for you if, for example, you want the test to be running for only 15 minutes. You can do 15 minutes while the students are going on through the words in a self-paced mode, of which each student will be going in a different pace. And if you want to have a hard stop, it's easy for you to set that. You can just hit start timer and it begins like this. Now notice that you want to definitely have your test hit the start test button before you have this timer going on. If not, the students can't join in. I'm just gonna stop the timer for now. And over here, I'm gonna be joining in as a student from the iPad. So I'm just getting my iPad on. Okay, so I'm gonna be joining the class code, which is 975346. And the first student was Emma Johnson. And the student number was 1. I'm gonna join it. Okay. And now I'm gonna hit start test. All right, now I'll set the timer on, say for 15 minutes from the teacher's library, just for you to have a look how it looks like on the student's screen. So they'll have that timer running on and they can choose to play the word. And I'm gonna play the word right now.
Deliberateness. His deliberateness in choosing words showed true wisdom. Deliberateness.
For example. Okay, and I'm gonna key in the word and then I'm gonna hit next. And I can play the next word.
Miscommunication.
All
A
right.
simple miscommunication caused the entire project to stall.
Just,
Miscommunication.
Just playing around with the spelling there. Okay, and so this is how the self-paced test would go. I'm gonna end the test right now for you to understand that. Okay, and you can see the results because I checked it earlier that the students will see their results immediately, and this will be the results. Okay, now I am going to move on to the paper test. Paper tests are the simplest test that we have. You notice that over here there is the print answer sheet option. Now we do recommend you use our answer sheet because the AI does learn and know how our format is like. So if you were to print answer sheet, for example, I'm just going to hit that button. Okay, it's going to bring you to this page where they can fill in the words and their details. It is important, and we'll go through this in the paper scan grading tutorial, that you don't scan the names for privacy purposes for the students. And you can click here to print the answer sheet. I will just show you the dashboard for the paper mode. This is just a little warning again to make sure that you don't scan the names in there. Okay, and it's the same thing. We do have a word timer, the dictation timer we had earlier, where we can set the time, auto advance or not, use the voice, and also a hard test limit if you want to add it in there too. When I hit start test,
the test will begin now.
I'm just going to pause the audio. It runs the same way as earlier. It will show the time, and your students can fill up the paper and submit the test when it's over. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end test. And it's in the separate tutorial where I show you how we can link the scan grading together. Now I want to talk to you about the homework mode that I mentioned earlier. Notice here from the dashboard it is called homework, test 2-homework, because I named it, and but the actual mode of this test is class test. Right, I'm gonna edit it now and change it to homework mode. And in homework mode, there is the deadline and also the time limit. The deadline is the absolute deadline where your students have to submit the test. And I'm just going to set that right now. Friday, say 6 p.m. Oop, 6 p.m. Okay. And hit set. And then time limit is something that is up to you to set. Time limit is when if a student starts, how much time do they have to finish their homework. Now, if you just want it to be something that they practice, you don't have to turn it on. But if you do want it to be more like a exercise where they sit down and complete it at once, you can do so by setting the time limit. I'm just going to leave that on and go ahead and save the test. Okay. And now I'm going to show you how it works when you want to start the homework mode. If you were to start the homework, all you have to do is hit start. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit that. Hit start, and the code for the homework shows up here. And I'm going to show you how it looks like on the student again by jumping back on my iPad. I'm going to start the iPad there, and it's basically the same mode, same way to join. You just hit in the class code. For this case, it is 889654. And I'm going to put in the name Emma Johnson again. And there's the numbers, number 1, joining. Okay. And that's the amount of time I have left. And I can just play.
Deliberateness.
And
his deliberateness
type
in
in the
choosing words show true wisdom. Miscommunication.
Pause that, and then you hit submit. And yeah, and there you go. The results as everything that has been. So thank you so much for watching. If you were to end the test right now, it will just, you can end it whenever you want to, and you can see the results as usual. So thank you so much for watching, and this is a overview of what the 4 different test modes are.